What up, everybody? We are back discussing the Traitors OCG. This week I'm here with Fan Guy, Meg, Leanna, Alex, Janessa, Rita, another packed house. No Aspen this week, so Lori's probably going to get off easy, but I don't know if everyone else is going to get off easy, but we'll see how it goes tonight. Leanna, can you hear me? You are very laggy. Well, we're gonna start. I was gonna start with Leanna, but since she's having trouble, if you can hear me, I want to know who you think are the better players so far in this game. Since you weren't here last week,
I think. First of all right. So I think Ash doing good. She going under the radar. My favorite was Raven, but to me, this week, she's doing a little too much. I don't know. She just falling behind people. And I like Jason. So that was my favorite. Ella,
I'm gonna go.
She was one of my favorites, but I mean, by her vote this week. Okay.
Now I'm gonna go around to everybody that what you're very laggy, Lana. So I'm gonna try and work around that, but. We're going to go around everyone else. I don't want to know why these people are your ups and downs. And I also just want you to pick one person each.
I can't pick one.
You have to pick one.
I can't either.
One person each.
Oh, man. Okay.
Who wants to start? Fan Guy, you look ready. Who is your up and down? Right. Just one each.
I really wanted to tell you my second up, but I gotta give you my top up. My top up is Elle. She's still just on fire, and she's gonna win. She's gonna win. I mean,
who is your down?
Down. I'd have to say Raven, because it looks like she even lost dot support towards the end of this episode. So if she loses the dudes, she loses a lot of her shield in the roundtable votes, though I think it's honestly going to be a traitor murder that ends up getting her.
Anyone else have one up or down?
Yeah. Okay.
So wait.
Oh no, Leanna, I think you're lagging just a little bit, so it's like delayed response. But my up is Mike. Just because there was no other. Sorry. Okay. Down. That's so hard to do that. Down is Lauren. Sorry.
So that's interesting because my up was actually Lauren.
Oh wow.
And my down was Amancio.
Do you have another down besides Amancio since he got eliminated?
No, the reason behind it. See, I didn't say his down because of his elimination. That's not why. So no, I'm letting Nick
do it from the computer.
Nick. So yeah, nope. That's I want him to. Yeah, nope. There's a reason. There's a specific reason.
All right. How about Rita or Meg?
Hello.
I'm gonna put Drea down, and I guess we're not supposed to say why, right? So, I guess I'll for up.
You seem like you don't want to say that, but
well, I feel like I have a personal vendetta against her, but I'm trying to stay unbiased. So I will give her the up, but I don't like it.
Fair enough. That leaves you, Rita.
Oh. Since everyone else said L, I'm actually going to put Dar up this week. And for my down, I'm putting Mike.
Okay. Well, as Leanna hopefully figures out her internet, I'm going to kind of go over some of the big stuff that happens. And then I kind of also just want to touch on everyone individually. So again, like we did last week. So the first big thing, I was hoping Aspen would be here, but does anyone have any Thoughts about what does sauce mean? What does sus mean?
Sus,
Lori's-
man. Sus. What you mean?
With all those grandkids, you think she'd know the lingo.
Has anybody in this group played Among Us? Like, anybody? Traitors? Like, I was so confused because I'm like, this is so much like Among Us. And so it just was like, what is sus? I'm like, what are you talking about, girl?
Fan guy, how do you think her Lori's? I don't want to call it a generational gap, but she did. I mean, Al's the same age, but how do you feel about Lori's generation in this game?
Gotta ask the old guy, right? Yeah, okay. As someone who, I mean, I'm kind of in the middle of all, like somewhere in between Lori and like the new generation. I don't know, man. That was funny though. Like, you couldn't tell if it was sauced or sussed, which are two completely different. They're both slang for very different things. I thought it was funny. I mean, Lori, I know everybody disagrees with me on this, and I'll say it. I don't think she's as clueless as Susan was, but I still think Lori's just kind of all over. Like, she's just happy to be here, like the bass player from Pearl Jam.
Leanna, you are also an older player. How do you feel about Lori?
I mean, I like her. I like her. At first, yeah, I like her.
Do you think her age is going to hurt her with the rest of this group?
At first, I thought it would, but I don't think so now. I think she just got to talk more because I don't think she be in a lot of the conversations. So she just got to talk more.
That's true. She kept saying that I wasn't in that chat. I didn't know this was going on. Any other thoughts on that situation before we move on? All right, we will move on to the interrogations. I guess my first question is, how do you think Mike and Raven did as interrogators?
I think Mike did a really good job, which is why I put him up, because like I felt like being an interrogator, it's a new role. It's not really something that everyone knows, but his approach of not necessarily figuring out who the traitor is, but actually getting the votes behind him is really smart. And I don't know if that's exactly the reason why he's safe and not voted out, but I think it helped a lot. And I think he definitely, Drea trusted him. I think Amy trusted. So yeah, like I think they did pretty good. Raven was fine. I don't think she did anything specifically to get her side of things and like make people like vote with her or anything like that. But Mike did a good job.
I agree. I think Mike did a good job, but it was the first round of these interrogators thing, and I had a few thoughts. Like, I don't understand why, just because they were interrogators together, Raven had this, I don't know, I think persona about her, like it's us. We are asking you. We are collectively, Mike and I. And I was like, just because you're interrogators together doesn't mean that you need to be like working together in some kind of scheme. But also, were they asking questions to help them try to narrow down who traitors were? Like, isn't that the point of being an interrogator, is you're trying to figure out who the traitors are? It's like, oh, you're quiet. So if you don't give us some information in this meeting right now, then you risk being voted out. That's not this game. That's Big Brother.
Yeah.
This is traitors.
Yeah, it was very much just like trying to clear this whole debacle with Mike and Drea,
Right.
and it was getting just kind of a little bit annoying because there was no real questions of who is the traitor, what do you guys do? And Mike said it brilliantly, and this is why I put him down, because he was like, "Hey, let's see who's stirring the pot right now." And then what do people do in the whole group? Like, when they're all talking, there's two specific people that are stirring the pot, which is why I put Dar up this week, because he stirred that pot. He ended up getting that person out because of that too. And so, yeah, that's why I was like, gotta follow your own advice, man. Like, who's stirring that pot? Even Elle stirred that pot, and no one like realized it because of all that trust that people have in her. So, yeah.
I agree. I thought they were horrible interrogators, but I thought Mike did a very good job of using that time
Yeah.
to cover his ass and to ensure that he
100%.
wasn't going to be the one voted out. So as far as interrogation goes, no, I thought they did horrible, but
Yeah.
I thought Mike really took advantage of that time and understood the assignment as far as that goes.
Yeah.
I do think it's why he didn't get voted out. I 100% think it had a very, very big, like, was very important to him not getting voted out.
Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's really genuinely a really hard thing to do, like to play Traitors online, because a big part of it is body language, and we're just little squares on the screen. It's not possible to actually detect that energy. You might be able to see Amasio look really uncomfortable, but do you know if it's because he's the traitor or if he's just uncomfortable? So I think it's just really hard, even especially with the new role like interrogator, to be able to ask real questions. Like, what can you actually ask to get a traitor out, right? Like, what is a real question that could actually be used here? You know, when it's the first.
Well, I would have been asking people who they think or the traitors are and why. Like, what have you noticed that, like, if you could pick one person in this game that you think is a traitor, who is it and why? At least that way you might get some solid information. They were really just like, who did you keep safe? Like, who cares?
Right.
Yeah, I feel like they tried to do that with Amancio, but I don't know if they did that so much with Amy and Drea.
Yeah, that's fair.
What do you want to say, Janessa?
No, it was what Alex had said about like playing Traitors online. I think I think one of the reasons also that would probably make it difficult is because along with body language and stuff, you have the sound and the visual thing going on. So where it was like they were almost on to the right, and then people start talking, and it's like so many people are talking, and you're trying to figure out who to look at. You miss the signs that you were on the right track, and so yeah, I think it's already difficult being online. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say even in the real Traitors game, it's always the first third of the game. It's almost impossible for the faithful. It's such a hard game for the faithful. The first third of the game, if not the first half of the game, so probably even harder.
Yeah.
Camera.
Yeah.
You just have nothing to go on.
Well,
like no one has anything to go on. That's why it's like, well, let's go for the quiet ones because we have nothing else to go for.
Well, you know what's crazy is I actually disagree with that, because I think there's just so much, like, they're watching everyone that they're not focusing on one person. Like, if we were looking at Ashley, her patterns changed within this last game. She was so talkative that first and second episode, and then she said, I'm gonna hush it. That's automatic sus to me. Like, and that's something that I would have pointed out and be like, hey, you were really talkative during these two things, but you're not talking now. What's going on with that?
What's sauce?
Sus?
Sauce?
Sauce?
Sauce.
Oh my god. We'll move on to the Drea Mike drama. Leanna, did you like how Mike, I guess, tried to squash that beef?
I did, but I think she was doing a little too much, because I think she was talking about the team shirt or something. So she didn't hear what, I don't know where she even got that from. I don't know, but she just took it. I don't know. She just took it too far. But I think she was doing a little too much. Too much.
Yeah. I mean, she definitely was before this episode. In this episode, Meg, how did you feel about Mike and Drea's conversation? Well, interrogation, but it was really Mike and Dre.
Mike and Dre. I think that Mike did a great job in turning things around and getting her on his side to work with him and to think past this, like, okay, she's been kind of coming for me and she's the reason that my name is out there and all these people are talking about it, to be like, listen, I don't really care about that because I don't think you're a traitor. But you know who would care about that? Whoever has been talking about this the most. So I wrote in my notes, like, he's just so smart. And then to be like, I don't want to say to call out Dot, but... And then she immediately is like, I'll do it. I'll call him out. I was like, God, you're just so.
Drea, like, she's such an unserious person, like as a personality type, and I love it. But in this game, you gotta vote her out because it's not only is she the loudest like speaker in terms of like opinions and everything, she switches on a dime, and it's not because she's a traitor, it's because she genuinely doesn't know whether or not like what to go off of. And so once someone says something that sounds correct, she'll latch on. So like Mike even called out like she came in saying that she trusted Dot, and now all of a sudden she's gonna call him out. It's just that's just how she is, and you just gotta either like nip it in the bud now instead of like voting out someone quiet like Amancio who isn't helping. Vote out someone who is taking up half the airtime that isn't making any sense. And that's just my 2 cents on Drea. Like I love her as a personality, but like I would go crazy if I was playing a faithful game with her because it's just hard to get through it.
Would you, if she was like, if you had a player like that, would you like call her out on that, or what would you do?
I genuinely, so I played a faithful game and a traitor game online. Yeah. And both times I call out anyone for being just a little bit too much, right? So like for her, if she's like just randomly saying all these things, I'd be like, Drea, lock in. Like lock in. Think about what you're saying first before you like just take up 5 minutes of the round table and waste time, because the time ran out, you know, like she spent so much time lecturing people.
Yeah.
And it just didn't go anywhere.
Well, that's the weird part. She was lecturing people, but she did the same vote as everyone else too. And I'm like, girl, like, how does that even make sense? Like that just it's not clocking for me.
One more thing about the Drea Mike situation. I think that while Mike did them a grave favor, like a big favor by like clearing all of that up, I think that he might have also done them a grave injustice, because what he's kind of doing is he's kind of proving their faithfulness, you know? And so the traitors are going to eventually say like, hey, they're never going to get voted off. We're going to have to kill them.
Yeah. That's why I put Drea down, because I said she's so obviously a faithful at this point that she's just going to get murdered, because there's no way that they're going to vote her. So I don't see this taking her far.
Yep.
You have to walk a fine line of like being a little bit sus, but not too sus where everyone votes you out.
Yeah.
So the way Lori's playing, honestly. The random ass grandparent numbers, that's grandkid numbers. It's so funny.
Did you ever trust anybody in this game?
When I played?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Genuinely no. Because it's not possible to.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, why is everyone throwing around this word trust like online survival?
Right. I would definitely argue that it's possible.
In traitors, not in.
It's possible, but when I dragged to the end with 3 traitors, and then when I played the traitor, we all 3 of us dragged the faithful all the way to the end. Like there was no way to do anything. Yeah, so it's hard.
I feel like traitors would be hard for me to play too. It's like I don't want to be a traitor because that would be like trying to keep everything to myself would be hard. But then to be a faithful, it's like I'm gung ho to do what I'm supposed to do. That's gonna put a target on my back.
Yeah.
So.
Well, how do you all think the faithful did at this first round table? What were some of the highlights or lowlights of this first round table? Why do you say horribly, Meg?
I just feel like they're not voting like they're playing the traitors. They're voting like they're playing like Big Brother, Survivor, one of these other online competition games, and they need to switch their brains into traitor mode, because that's I understand what they're saying, that he wasn't helping, but it's been like a day. So maybe give him a chance to contribute something.
That is why he got my down, because although I'm praying that they do not continue this path and doing the vote the way they did, I understood, like literally they're saying, we need you to give us something so that we don't vote you. And he's just like, Zoop. And I'm just like,
what does he have to give though? Like,
I
mean, do you think he could have said a name though? Do you think he could have said a name?
I think a lot of people's responses in this episode were not the correct responses.
They weren't.
Collectively across the board.
Traitor. He didn't even as far as like to say anything. Like, I'm not a traitor. I've been looking. I haven't noticed any. Like, it was just like, no, I didn't see anything. Like, I feel like if anything, maybe he should have went into detail. Like, I was in the conversation that you guys are talking about, but again, you guys don't want to keep it going, so I have nothing to contribute. I was in this conversation, but again, you guys were talking about those things, and no one wants to talk about it anymore. So, he wasn't giving anything.
Yeah,
And he
no, I mean, I agree with you.
He honestly could have went like on the Lori train for a bit. Like, hey, I didn't trust you because of this, this, and this. And like, was I wrong for that? Probably, but like, this is what I was initially going off of.
That would have worked.
Would have been giving them something.
Exactly.
So, like,
He did say in his confessional that he was like sus about Dot.
Yeah.
So I mean, he could have said something like that.
Something that he could have given them.
The confessionals were so like natural, funny. Like,
yeah.
Where is that?
That's why I was mind blown. I just expected him to do more.
Yeah.
I just expected him to fight more than he did.
Right.
Yeah.
But I also think that a big reason we all put Elle up is because of her vote at the round table and then what it did for her in the game. But I don't think that vote would have been as successful as it was had everybody not jumped on this Amancio train.
With this group in particular, it was successful. But I'm telling you right now, playing Among Us, and if you are the first person that's like spouting someone's name and you don't even have any context behind it, I would have been like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, I would have called her out for that, like, full on out. But no one is calling her out on that because everyone trusts her right now. So this group, it does work.
I'll get back to the situation. Leanna, what did you want to say about Amancio?
Oh no, they kept saying he wasn't talking, and they didn't get a chance to talk to him. Who requested the chat? Didn't he? They could request the chat with him, right?
Yeah, they could.
Like, oh, I didn't talk to him, so I don't know why they did that.
Getting back to the Al vote, though, I do feel like it would be hard. There was all this game of telephone going on. Everyone was just giving their perspective, so I think that's kind of why it worked out for Al. But what did you want to say, Janessa?
No, I realized I was getting off on. She mentioned the L, and then that was going to take me into my up on Lauren. Because so I'm
you could get to your up. What is your
okay?
Up
So that is one of the reasons I couldn't put L up, is because when she was trying to say what she was saying about Lori or Lauren actually spoke up. I was actually very impressed when she. Hold on, wait, Lori or Lauren? Like, okay, like she took matters into her own hand and got her name out of harm's way. And so for me, that's why I gave her up, and that's the counter reason why I gave Amancio down. Like he had her energy, and she stood when it was time, and he didn't. So
that's fair
yeah,
point,
but that same reason is why I would consider Lauren down this week, and that's because I don't think that she reacted to that very well.
Agreed.
And I think that her response. Lauren, I love you so much. Sweet.
Okay, Meg, I got Lauren this week. You go ahead. I got her this week.
But I think she was caught off guard. I didn't think she genuinely, I don't think, knew that she was like, seriously, what are you talking about? I don't think she was like,
I loved
paying
it.
that much attention
it.
and then was like, wait, me? And then I don't think that she really had a way to respond to it. I mean, if it were me, I would have been like, well, yeah, you came into the chat and asked what we were talking about, and I told you, like,
yeah,
I don't know, I wasn't there, and left it alone. But I think she was like trying to save it. I didn't like her.
But
I didn't like your response, Lauren. I'm sorry.
This is the thing, though. When she said that, it was just enough to make Drea say, wait, what? Yeah, Lauren, she doesn't ever talk. So Drea was already thinking, like, this can't be true because that's not even Lauren's character.
I do think it's what turned it around and made them stop talking about the situation, because then Lauren was like, well, Raven honestly was the one that was bringing it up in all these conversations.
Well, Dot was the one bringing it up.
That's the other
Well, that's Raven did it at least 3 times.
is
Yeah,
Raven
was...
is just as awkward as Amazio,
right.
and yet like she is not getting clocked for that, and I find that really interesting because like her demeanor, the way she's saying things, even Mike could have like questioned her and been like, hey, how do you know so much about this like whole telephone thing, like what why do you know so much about this, like, you know, so it's very interesting that she's not getting clocked for that. And you know, I don't really know the reason as to why, but I found that really interesting too.
Well, Fanguy, what do you think the difference is between? Oh, sorry, Alex.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say back to Lauren. Like the only reason why I put her down was because I literally wrote my notes after hearing her explanation that I would vote her because like unfortunately like the only good thing that came out of it was the snowball into Raven and then the whole thing of like everyone's playing telephone. But her response prior to that, it was just I think because she was caught off guard, it did come out of nowhere. That her response ended up becoming like very sus, honestly. Like it sounded like she got caught red-handed. And if people were more like hell-bent on like going into that, like who spread that, it sounded like Lauren spreaded it and like out of nowhere too. So I felt like I don't know how much she saved herself in that moment, except for like the fact that it was so confusing of everyone doing stuff. Or you know, she could have been the one that got voted out because like you don't talk much, but when you do, you were spreading shit around.
I think the best response would have been like, I mean, I don't even know why my name is coming out of your mouth right now, so let's move on.
Well,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Is she good at thinking like right on the spot? Like
no.
Oh.
She seems like an introvert.
She's a Taurus. She's a Taurus.
She seems to me. So I mean, is she? Because that's why I was just so like I was like thrilled for her. I'm like, she just instantly realized like, wow, that target I do not want.
I think she did realize that, but her way of she just didn't put it together in her brain. Like her response wasn't quick enough.
Yeah,
I know. I'm just like trying to figure out how she could have responded to that because I feel like Elle really set her up for that, and that
I
was just
honestly think the best thing would have been just to push it aside, like you know, and been like, no, that's what we're not going to do right now. Let's try to blame you for this.
I feel like what would have been good was been like, hey, yeah, I was in that chat, but so was this person, so was that person, so was this person. So
yeah,
like,
I just happened to tell you what we were talking about before you walked in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, she did kind of try to bring up Raven, but Fanguy, why do you think? What's the difference of Lauren getting called out instead of Raven and Amancio getting called out instead of Amy? Do you think?
Well, I mean, you could easily put Dar into the Amy Amancio category as well, because they're all just super quiet. I'm with Alex. I think Lauren looks super sus with the response she gave. I think Amancio literally could have put the heat on like 5 different people. He had like 5 different people. He could have just said, well, this person, and it might have shifted the whole vote to that person because he's so quiet. He could have probably put it on Lauren. He could have probably put it on Dot. He probably could have put it on Drea. He probably could have put it on Mike. Like he had a lot of different options that he could have gone with there.
Even Lauren.
And instead he just was like a deer in headlights. But then in his exit confessional, I love this fucking guy.
Yeah.
So like, where was this guy the whole game? Like, he was a plant. I know they're like, well, he wasn't a plant. He was a fucking plant. He was a wall chair. But like all of a sudden he gets voted out and it's like Captain Awesome. Like, come on, dude. Like, give us something. But for the record, all of these faithfuls are playing a horrible game. I'm sure you're all wonderful people, but you're focused on stuff like, oh, is Lori lying about how many grandkids she has?
I wrote that in my notes.
About that? Why would anyone lie about that? Are you guys fucking?
And why would that tell you?
Why are you so hung up on it?
Yeah.
No one's gonna lie about anything in their personal life because why? Like, unless Nick gave them a mission. Okay, traitors, you must lie about something in your
right.
Guess what? That's not a thing. So like,
they're not focused.
Like, stop. Just stop. Just fucking.
They're not focused on like the important what's like of who's spreading what. Like, why are we focused on like these weird details? Like, I don't know. And all of them seem to be making notes. So that's like the weird part about it is like if you're making all these notes, how are you not clocking anybody at this point? Is like what I don't know.
It's like when you have no rubric and no like parameters of what to look for.
Yeah.
You're taking notes about random shit and then you're like, wait a second, like what am I actually supposed to do here? Because you don't know. There's no targeted like route to go.
Here's the thing: they had one route. Can anyone tell me what it was? There's one objective route that these people could have taken in this game. One. Can any guesses?
Enlighten us, fan guy.
Vote Mike out.
Returnees. Your one route of objectivity is the 4 returnees. You can be fairly certain that on the first season of this, one of those 4, and probably only one of those 4, is going to be a traitor. So you have nothing else to work with the first few days. So you know what? You've narrowed it down to 4 people. And you just start going down the line of them until you get them, and you can probably get off the rest. Which means if I was a returnee, I certainly would not be wanting to work with the other returnees. I would be throwing them under the bus so that we can get that traitor out and then go, hey, we already got the returnee traitor out. It's not me. Put you a little more risk to get killed.
But what if you keep getting the returnees that aren't a traitor out? Then you're kind of hurting your own game, don't you?
Well, you just tell them, like, look, if I'm the last returnee and you've eliminated the other 3 and we still haven't found a traitor, I'll go next. Because I would be that sure that one of the returnees is a traitor. And as long as I'm the last one to go, then we're going to hit a traitor before it's me if I'm a faithful.
Unfortunately, these returnees want to win the game, and they're not thinking of, like, oh, just being a faithful. Like, Mike specifically, I bet you would have done that by now, but he's already concerned thinking that Jason's the one. So then he's like, let me latch on to him and not do that. So I don't think Dot, Jason, and Dart, well, Dart is one, but, like, I don't think they're thinking that, but Mike isn't, because he wants to get to the end, and having Jason as a shield if he's a traitor is a good option.
Leanna, you seem to disagree with something.
Oh, I forgot now. I forgot what I was about to say.
Well, I want to say, speaking of returnees, Leanna, once upon a time, you were responsible for Dot being a first boot because you blindsided him and little brother. Yeah. How do you think Dot did this time, if you're here, Leanna, or anybody that wants to answer this? How do you think Dot did this time with the heat
she loved the
being on him?
Oh, my God. I don't know, him and he's doing the same. He's doing the same thing because it's like, let me get Mike before he get me. So he's doing the same thing. It's just like he paranoid.
I thought we saw a lot of growth from him at the end of the episode,
too.
Matter of fact, I was eating my words from last week because I was like, he has no self-awareness at all, but he showed some self-awareness at the end of this episode. He said, you know what? I took this path on Little Brother and it got me voted out first. Had he not taken that path on Little Brother, he wouldn't have gotten voted out first. So I saw a lot of growth, which I actually thought Dot did great. And then he starts shifting the conversations to a positive note. Well, hey, let's talk about what we like about each other rather than what we're sus about, sauce, whatever. And so I thought Dot did great this week. I mean, he started off on the wrong foot with doing the whole starting shit, but I thought he really recovered well. And at the round table, his name hardly even came up.
He did really good, and he was the one that was talked about the most.
Right.
So arguably, like, they could have voted him out if he responded like Lauren did, or, you know, like Amazio. Like, he did a really excellent job, I thought.
Dot has learned how to, like, shut his mouth in a big group like that. Like, a couple seasons ago, he would have had something more to say, but
that was what I was impressed about. When his name did come up, he just chilled. He said what he had to say briefly, and then he didn't escalate the conflict.
I also think he has a level of PTSD being brought up, so he was probably like, really, again?
Yeah, he literally, like, he usually jumps in and doesn't stop talking. Like, he will keep going until his piece is, like, met. But this time he said his piece and he just kind of, like, chilled back, which still made people kind of suspicious because they're like, he usually talks so much. Why is he quiet now? So I don't think he handled it the best, but there was no way for him to do it, right? So I do appreciate the way he kind of backed off of Mike and was like, if I can't beat him, let me work with him. That is such a big difference than, like, you know, his past performances.
I wrote he took control of his interrogation. Like, I feel like for me that was big. Like, he wasn't the one doing the interrogating. He was the one doing the interrogating. You know, so I thought that was pretty good that he was, you know, trying to take control of a situation and take advantage of the fact that you know, he had 2 people who were willing to listen and hear what he had to say.
Right.
Rita, you brought up Dar. How do you feel Dar did in this roundtable? He did stir the pot, and he did throw Amancio under the bus, and Lori helped that because she didn't like her name out there. So
I think he did a really good job. You know, he when they were talking about clocking people that didn't speak that much, he spoke up when he needed to, and he kind of addressed the situation, and it got everyone off his back. No one was looking at him at all. And then when he brought up the whole Amazio thing, like he did it brilliantly. He did it so subtly too, where it was just like planting little seeds in people's brains. So it may have not looked like big moves, but ultimately this guy got out. So, and he did speak up on his name. So I thought he did a really good job. It was more than what he did for the last season that I played with him in. So that's
Dar was one of the ones that I was putting up this week too, and mostly just because he's not on anybody's radar as being a traitor.
Yeah.
And that's your goal in this game, is to not really have a whole lot of attention brought on you either way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Janessa, why do you think Dar keeps getting away with being quiet and yet nobody's suspecting him?
I think he's better at balancing when to talk now. And like just engaging more. Like he doesn't have to, like, you know, his little, what is it when people come in there like, oh, how are you doing? He's like, just chilling, you know. It's like he's giving just enough, and where you can tell that he's trying to engage and to, you know, so it's not really coming off like he's not talking, it's not coming off of like a quiet person. It's coming off as somebody who's introverted trying to engage is what it's coming off as.
He also has like 2 traders to help never say his name and so that's already a plus. I feel like Ashley and Elle, you know, Ashley specifically would talk about who doesn't talk much, and Dar's name is not out of her mouth, and that's important for like just a subconscious thing of like, oh yeah, like Dar's fine. So, and plus Jason seems to really think that Dar is good, which I think besides Ashley, he trusts like everyone else. So, yeah, like it's interesting because I think that also helps. Like if anyone's outspoken and they don't think you're too quiet, then you're good.
Next up was the Al vote. We touched upon it a little bit. Fan guy, did you like Al's voting for Lauren in the end, being the only one to do that?
Yeah, it was really good. And all the people after kind of explained it on the show. Like she didn't go with the herd, and she voted for someone. I do understand her viewpoint of like if she actually got the attention on Lauren and Lauren gets voted out and is not a traitor, it might make her look bad and kind of backfire. But I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think most of this cast is just interpreting it as she's voting who she wants to vote because that's what she feels. And ultimately, I think they respect it. And I think it went well for her. I don't think there was any. There's a slight potential for blowback in the future, but I think right now there isn't. And I think it put her in a really good spot because the only person even talking about her is Drea, who just calls her Bangs. So, that's the only person that has her clocked at all. Everyone else is like, Elle, I trust Elle. Elle, I trust Elle. Like everyone said it this week. So
and that's the weird part about that too. She said it like twice or 3 times now, and she said it in this last group message with Mike, and Mike was only worried about Dot, so like it just went completely aloof over his head. So yeah, like no one is on her radar at all. Like she's doing such a great job.
I think the only way that she would get blowback from that whole thing is if she pushes too hard on feeling guilty for voting Lauren. I think right now where she's at, if she just stops and just lets it be water under the bridge, I think she'll be fine. But if she just keeps harping on, and if Lauren gets voted out and won't be, then she's gonna start looking sus, you know. And so I think that she just needs to let it go, let it flow.
She kind of needs to just like take on that role of like, I'm doing what I want to do.
Yes,
like, you can't just do that for one round, the most crucial, like uncertain round where no one knows how to, get out of this.
Yes.
then all of a sudden the next round feel comfortable to like switch up the way you play.
Just crumble.
Yeah, and just play with everyone else. Like just keep doing what you're doing, and people aren't going to be like thinking of you as someone that's changing up.
Exactly.
But her apologizing for it can be a lot overkill. Like as she keeps doing that. So
yes.
I do think it injured Lauren though, and we all know how that one thing that's said in the beginning of the game can haunt you for the rest of the game. And this, I feel like, is something that could just keep following her around and coming up. It's like, if they're struggling to come up with somebody, they'll be like, well, remember, the L was on to Lauren first week. And, so I don't think it's looking good for her. She's got to figure out a way out.
You never want to hear your name said publicly, period.
No.
You just don't.
But Anthony's name was said. Lori mentioned Anthony's name, and he came in like, no. And then it literally was never talked about again.
Yeah.
I think Lauren, I hope this next episode, she really like starts to question Elle. If like that would happen, that would be really cool to see.
Yeah, I know. I have been on the wrong end of Lauren before, and I can't wait to see her talk to somebody.
Because Ella also wants to like work with Elle all of a sudden. She's like, let me like hash things up with her. Lauren, if she can clock that and be like, you just went after me, and now you're all of a sudden trusting me, like that is insane behavior. If she can do that, that is Ella's downfall. But like, because I don't understand why Ella is just trying to patch things up completely. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, no one is thinking of you as, So
if Lauren retaliates too hard at Elle, though, it's gonna backfire on Lauren.
Absolutely.
Like she cannot get too defensive about this at all.
Hello. We literally are the same. So like, have we not seen how it's gone for me in the past? I don't see this working out for her. I'm predicting that me and Lauren finish around the same place that I did in my first game.
Where did you finish?
What I would do
what place is that?
I want to say I was like smack dab in the middle.
I feel like what she should just do is just like be in like kind of a group situation and just like kind of reiterate like, hey, remember that vote last week? So like, what makes me suspicious? Like, why do you think I'm suspicious? I'm just curious, like just kind of like backtrack, make it like super subtle and like hush up and see what her answer is.
The best thing for her to do is to try to go and like cozy up to Mike and be like, I don't even know what she was talking about. Like, it was the same situation that just happened with you and Dry.
Leanna, how do you feel about Elle's playing as a traitor?
She's playing good. She under the rate. Well, besides this vote, I don't know. I think she just need to stay under the radar and just don't push nothing else. Because they gonna catch up, they gonna get up, they gonna know. Because I mean, like she voted for, she just did that out of vote, that vote that nobody else didn't vote for. So I mean, if I would have been thinking, hold up, a traitor was stirred the pot. So that's how they should be thinking, but they're not. They just were basing their whole thing on who quiet, who not.
Why do you think everybody is respecting it and not questioning it?
I don't know.
I think that's what it is. I think so.
They haven't thought of the layer that a traitor will only do that because they're not going to get voted. Like they're not in danger.
They're thinking. They're thinking like a faithful. They're thinking with integrity. They're thinking with like, like, hey, I'm not going to do this, and this is great that this person does, but they're not like getting in the mind of a traitor.
Yeah.
I think it's guilt. Like with Anthony, I think it's guilt partially. He feels guilty about piling on Amancio.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them have a little bit of reservation about why they did that.
Right.
And so I think they respect her for not just being part of the herd and following that route and I think part of it's guilt because if some of them feel bad about their vote.
Yeah, because Jason feel bad about his vote.
My fear is that people will just start listening to her fully instead of just doing what she's doing and voting the way you want. But I feel like everyone's like, okay, Elle, you're so brave from first round. Who do you think is the traitor? And then we're just going to keep doing that for at least a few rounds. So that's my fear.
The only reason I'm not afraid of that is because Anthony said that he wasn't going to do that anymore. He said that he appreciated her doing that and it got his head back in the game. And so if nothing else, even if Elle decides to start going over there and voting with everyone, we have Anthony who's now taken on that that energy and is now going to be, you know, telling people you should focus on what you think. You should vote for who you want. So I'm hoping that if nothing else, that he at least keeps that energy so that we keep seeing the votes not piling.
Yeah.
In majority.
It's so interesting to see a game being played where it's looked at as like bravery and like commending to like throw this random vote, because we all play the games where it's like, wait, we all need, who are you voting for?
Who are
We
you
all need to
voting
vote
for?
for this specific-
It's like
You don't want to be the one left out of the vote.
right.
Nick, I feel like please don't put me in this game because I would be the first one out. Because I would be like, that person sus. We should vote this.
No, that makes me want to put you in the game. That makes me want to put you in the game.
That sounds good.
About Elle, before you move us along, I just wanted to say that she was funny when, well, who was it? Jason asked her if she was a traitor, and she was like, "Are you a traitor?" She didn't say no first. She just said, "Are you a traitor?" "Oh no, I'm not a traitor."
Yeah, she did.
I can't wait to see his reaction if like
Yeah.
Oh my god, he's going to be crushed. And
Is Elle watching like live? Because I was trying to figure out what her like username is since she's
She left one comment. I don't know if she watches the chat, but she's left a comment, I think, at one point. Any other thoughts on the round table or the Traitors specifically? Any other thoughts on Ashley, Dar, or the round table?
I think the Traitors are just doing really good in this group,
Mhm.
particularly. Like they're doing good, they're killing it.
I'll say I think it's gonna be a huge mistake if they kill a returnee. Going back to my initial point, I really do think the faithfuls should be the ones picking off all the returnees, and so I think if they pick off like Mike here, I think they're doing themselves a huge disservice because that's a career that was going to get voted out anyway.
Dar's picks are bad. Dar's picks of who to kill is not good.
So are Ashley's. She's like,
well, go ahead.
NL. Sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah. Go ahead.
All
Fan guy.
Bad.
Yeah, because I mean, why would Elle want to kill Drea if Drea's already is the only? They said she's the only person targeting you. She should be the only person you're not targeting.
You're right. All their picks are bad. All of their picks are bad.
Like, you do have to keep going with the quiet people to murder, honestly. Genuinely, like that. No, it's not going to provide any more information. It's just going to keep everyone in the same spot everywhere.
So who do y'all think they should kill?
Amy.
That would be interesting.
Honestly, I think that if nothing else, that if the tide hasn't fully changed on this voting the quiet person out. So the Traitors should still vote someone who's kind of loud out, but they should definitely not vote anybody that said any of the three of their names. Like it could be anybody. Like because to target someone who said anybody else's name, that would make that person look like they're the traitor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I personally think they should get rid of Raven.
Interesting.
Raven would be a good. Yeah, I think she would be a good. They're not going to do it, but that would be a good person.
Could you imagine if they got rid of Anthony? Ooh.
That makes sense to me, though.
He'd be another good one too, though. He'd be a good
Anthony, Lori, Amy, Raven. They all make sense to me.
Yeah. Ooh.
But but we know the full picture. They don't. They're sitting on.
I think they could do some work in convincing everybody that Raven is a traitor and try to get her for a vote.
I agree.
Watch Raven becomes a traitor.
Recruitment.
Well, I did want to touch upon more Raven and Mike. Let's just quickly go through the faithful. Any other thoughts on Raven or Mike from those episodes? They were the interrogators, after all.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Raven is just like always really good and really bad to me. Like I think her premiere was really good, and then she like dips all the way down because she's just a lot in some ways. And then this episode, she was really bad as an interrogator, but honestly, she kind of like was never on anyone's radar, which is a good thing. So to me, Raven's just like I can't pin her down in terms of like if I like her or if I don't in this game.
I put Mike was way better in this episode, and then for Raven, I put that she started out like hot, moving quick. She was like in the first couple episodes, she just didn't really care, and she was just kind of like being like playing really risky. But she's started to slow down, and the problem with that is that's also created a target for her because that's someone I don't remember who it was, but they noticed that change in her persona, you know. And so I'm just, you know, I feel like that's why she's another one of those who I wish I could remember who said it about her, but I was just like, they noticed it because one of the things they kept saying was like, oh, you know, you really can't get a good feel for people. But then they want to turn around and say like, oh, that person's changed and that person's not the same. And it's like, are you able to gauge people or are you not able to gauge people?
Right.
So whoever that was, definitely seen Raven's shift.
I think she's very personable. I think she's really good at that. I think she's just really scattered. And I think she doesn't know, like, she doesn't want to be any, like, an authoritative role. Like, that's why she was like, I want to be like the second person in the interrogator, because I don't think she wants to play like that heavy role. And I think that's like her personality to a core, and I don't think she's able to like shift that in this game. So
She was also definitely quiet and super nervous during the roundtable, in case you didn't notice.
Yeah.
How about Lori? What are your thoughts on Lori from this episode? How do you think Lori did overall?
I just want Lori to pop off. Like, I want her to do something. Because she's like all I'm getting from her, she's older. She's a grandma. She's a teacher. She's taking all these notes. So I'm just ready for her to like pop off at someone and like bring her grandma roll in.
She kind of did. Right? Like
she did with Amancio.
I think Lori's really likable, and I was actually really happy to hear her speak up at the roundtable and put something out there. Like, that's what we were waiting for. So get you some, Lori. Good job.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pop off more, girl. Pop off more.
We talked about Lauren a lot, but any other thoughts on Lauren?
I need her to have
Be very careful.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you got it. I was saying she needs to be careful. She's on a very thin wire right now.
Yes, and she actually needs Mike's strategy the most, which is like cozying up to people even if you think they're a traitor at this point. Like, if she is sus of L, maybe take her up on that. Like, I don't know, but she has, and the way it's being shown to us is that I don't see anyone going to absolute bat for her, and that's an issue. Like, she needs someone that's in her corner, that's just like, able to subconsciously move the needle off of her instead of like letting people say bad things about her or like saying that she's sus. It's really simple. Like, it just takes one person to kind of casually be like, oh, I think I trust Lauren, to like then change everyone's minds.
I think the problem though, and this is just with like chatting with her as the episodes air, is she claims that nobody requested her for any chats. So she didn't really have a whole lot of opportunity to talk to anybody one-on-one. Yeah. And, when she was taught, it was always in the backyard and she's just falling into whatever conversation is happening. So, and that's difficult to do in these games if nobody's reaching out to talk to you. Like, you're not really building relationships with anybody.
It's the worst. That's the worst. Because the whole game's being played around you. Like, you're aware that the game is going on, and you just have no information, no allies. It's the worst. So I definitely feel bad if that's the case, because I've been on both sides. I've had seasons where I had a billion chats, and I've been in seasons where I had no chats. And it's way better on the other end.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about Jason at all. First of all, I want to say that he texted me after the podcast last week. He told me to tell Fanguy and Aspen, but Aspen's not here, that even though he's too military, Fanguy, you were spot on that he's like every baseball coach you ever had. He does coach youth baseball. So.
He is, dude. I'm telling you. I played baseball for 15 years. This guy is... Thank you, Jason. I see you, bro.
I love that.
You, bro.
That's so funny.
Leanna, you said Jason. You like Jason. What do you like about Jason?
I mean, he was. I like him because he to the point, and then he liked it. Raven. So I just hope he have his own mind and pick. Like vote the way he won't vote and not follow the pack. So
would you say, Alex, that he's kind of the one that shifted the vote to Amancio?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he like he kind of like does it in a way that's like he's like, I'm sorry, buddy, like I would have loved to get to know you more. Like he does it in a way that's like it's respectful, and you're not thinking of him as like someone who's stirring shit up. So it's a good thing for him to like be able to do that. But that is my also like another issue with me with people who are outspoken and are faithful is that when you're wrong, then it just kind of skews the whole thing. So I right now don't see Jason being able to clock the right trader because he just puts trust in the wrong people. That to me can cause L to just walk straight into a win. And it's like some people like Jason and Drea who just do that constantly is just not good for the game.
Janessa or Rita, how did you feel about your old friend Jason in this episode?
Well, one of the downfalls I think that he might have is that, like, when he puts his, like, when he makes a decision about like whether who somebody is, and this is where I think that they're all kind of falling short on this game versus other games, is that you can't just decide, oh, I think this person is trustworthy, I'm going to play with them to the end, because you don't know if they're a traitor, and essentially the traitor means your enemy. You don't know if you're playing with your enemy, and so the other part of what I wrote down for Jason was that he was asking people and he was not giving them like the opportunity to give him the answer. He was like answering for them. And I'm like, how can you tell if like the answer gauges the truth, right? And if you don't give a person the opportunity to give you the answer, you can't gauge the truth either. It was almost like he asked, but he was nervous to find out. So I think that's what's causing him a little misstep.
He's very assertive, but he's very positive when he's assertive. Like he's got a positivity to his energy, but he's very assertive. Like he took control of that round table when everybody was still on Mike and Drea. He just kind of stepped in there, was like, yo, let's stop. Let's start pointing the fingers at all the quiet people. So I can see that kind of personality. It's going to probably backfire on him in this game, but he's got a positivity to his assertiveness, which most assertive people don't have. So I good for you, Jason. Way to, wrangle that conversation.
I was going to give Rita the last word on Jason, but she disappeared.
Her camera looked like it was glitching.
We will move on. Amy, Anthony, what are your thoughts on Amy and Anthony? We haven't really touched upon them in this episode.
I think Anthony's doing a good job this episode. He didn't talk as much, but I don't think that people really know where he's at. So I don't really see him being like a first vote at the table. I think he'd be a great murder, but I don't see them going after him either. So I think right now he's sailing pretty good.
Yeah. I think he's got pretty privilege, just like Raven does.
I don't have a lot to say about his gameplay. I think he's just kind of scared to make moves at the same time with the people that he really likes. And he's like, it's clouding his judgment just a little bit. And you can just tell, like, when he's asking people questions that he trusts, he's like, you're not a traitor, right? It's like very jokish tone. So it's like, can't even like answer that seriously. And it's like, no, of course not. And it's like, it brushes it off. So it's like not very serious, like gameplay right now until it gets serious.
How about Amy?
Yeah, all Amy cares about is how many grandkids Lori has. That's literally all she cares about. Can somebody answer her question, please, and explain the situation? She's already said she's got this many grandkids. Some she teaches, some lives with her, some don't. Some are from her husband. It's fine.
She has a whole chart right now with 6, 8, 10 numbers, all like squiggly.
Let's move on.
Yeah, like day one, she said this. She's doing a lot with that. And she hasn't said anything to anyone about it, to be honest. She just keeps it to herself, which is like...
it's useless information.
It's useless.
If she has 10 grandkids, she's a faithful. But if she has 6, she must be a traitor.
There's no correlation to lying about grandkids versus being a traitor. What good does that do? How does that prove anything? It doesn't.
I feel like Amy's not doing anything in this game. Like
she has no clue what's going on.
I'm getting like a little bored watching her. No offense to you, Amy, but it's just like yeah, she's worried about the grandkids, and then she said one thing to Mike's face, and that was it. There was like nothing else. She doesn't do anything. So it's like, what? I mean, her best thing, I guess, is just to tag on with the player that is doing something. Maybe they'll take her in.
She's so concerned with the grandkids, but then she's so quick to just believe what people tell her. Like, she jumped on that train against Mike right away with like, oh, I believe everything that Dot says. And then that turned around because Mike is when she's like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And I'm like,
I mean, I will say, fan guy, she does seem to be in both Mike and Dot's good side again this week, like you said last week, like she should be.
Yeah, no. I mean, I agree with everything they're saying though. Like she's the other plant on this cast. We already lost half the oxygen once Amancio got voted out. Now there's not enough oxygen in the room, and I have a feeling she's going to be gone in the near future, and everybody's just going to be choking because there's not going to be any air. All the plants are gone. She's just not. I don't know, man. I do think she's handling. She also got some awareness with the Dot Mike situation. Like, hey, let me not necessarily tilt too far to one side here. So well played by her. But I also think she might be in the same category of Lauren in terms of she might just not be getting a lot of chats and a lot of opportunity to
she
do.
probably isn't.
I don't think she is. I hope there's a twist where the traders need to turn on each other and to like get a prize or something, because at this rate, I genuinely think the three of them will walk to the end. It's not easy. It's not easy for the faithfuls in general to get it out. But like when people are focused on all these different things that are useless, like I just can't see a world where things get spicy.
That's why I was trying to say they need to focus on the returnees, because it's the one tangible thing you have. It's literally the one tangible thing that you have
that you
to work
can actually do. Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that if they kill Drea, that somebody will be like, oh, wait, Elle's name came up yesterday, and now Drea's dead. Maybe we should start looking at Elle because a lot of people like her. Why? That's what I'm hoping if they go that route and murder.
I really feel like this group is not going to clock that, though, with Elle. I just don't see it. The only one that's clocking that is Drea. Yeah.
A girl can hope.
I
know. Any quick final thoughts on Dot? Fan guy, you surprisingly gave him the most love this week. After
he was my second up just for the self-awareness.
Yeah,
he really has always lacked that. I mean, I don't dislike that guy. I really don't. And like, I just dislike his game awareness because I'm kind of a game bot with like a better personality and better narration skills, but I have the mind of a game bot. So when people mess up basic strategy and basic theory in these games, it bothers me. And Dot, I feel like, has done that.
We can't all be as perfect as you, fan.
Look, I mess it up too, but I'm just saying I've seen a history of Dot messing up in these games with just some basic theoretical concepts, and he seems to be evolving and like really trying to get better at the game. And so, man, you got to respect that. And I think he could do really well if as long as they don't start going down the route I suggested with the returnees. I think Dot's in a fine position. I think he navigated this week really well, and he was in a really bad spot. So I think he came out of it. He probably, again, you never want to have your name said in public, which he did. So it's always going to be out there now. But I do think he navigated it as well as he could have, and far better than we've ever seen him do it in the past. So that's growth. So big props.
I feel like he irritates you because, like, despite
he's living in that head rent free, what you mean?
like, despite being bad strategically, he's just socially so good that he gets far, which is why it's like, how is this happening, right? But I do think this time he is learning from the first initial, going after Mike and realizing like might not work out, and so you can't just put yourself out there and spread shit and hope for the best. You have to play a little differently. So.
Well, I am low on time, so any quick predictions? Janessa, Meg, Alex, you were spot on with Amancio last week. So what are your predictions for this next week?
All right.
I don't even know what my prediction last week was.
I think you were the one that said it might turn on Amancio, so you were...
Ooh.
I think we're going to kill Amy overnight. I'm just going to be like, as logical as I can be, and hope they do the same thing. So Amy as a murder, and then at the round table, to me, I feel like it's like Lauren or Drea. I'm gonna go with Lauren, unfortunately.
I think I'll give her one more week and go for Drea.
Yeah, that's okay with me. I'm okay. I'd rather Lauren in the game than Drea, because Drea is completely ruining the Faithful's game.
She's good to watch though, but I think she's short lived too. And I agree with Alex. I think Amy's going to be. It feels like Ashley's getting her way with the traitor votes, and that was her target. So I do think that's going to continue here. Yes. And I agree that it probably will be. I think I'll throw Mike in there too. I think it'll be Drea, Mike, or Lauren. Somebody who's been.
Yeah, actually, I don't think Drea for a roundtable vote.
I don't know.
Maybe Dot.
Maybe Dot.
I was thinking Dot too.
Oh gosh. I think if Mike goes home, the Faithfuls just pack it up. We can let's just watch how Elle does it. How Elle start do it.
Leanna or Janessa, any predictions?
I think Mike. I think Mike.
For murder or roundtable vote?
Murder. No, roundtable. Roundtable.
Roundtable could make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, roundtable.
I think Dot would be roundtable. I feel like Amy would or Lauren would be murdered. I don't know why.
Lauren murdered. That
Yeah.
Don't ever say yes to that. Elle would be like, "Are you fucking like this is war?" Like, that was the best Lauren. Elle would completely tone Ashley the next round. That'd be so fun.
I feel like she's gonna murder Jason. I really do. I feel like Elle's gonna like turn the tables on him really soon because she did say it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe so she doesn't have to keep lying to his face all the time.
So that we can play the game together.
Any final thoughts?
No, I can't. I'm just stuck on Elle wanting to target Drea at the end of the episode. I was just like, what are you doing? Like, she was playing so great up until that moment. I'm just like, she has tunnel vision. And so I'm just wondering if she's going to keep that tunnel vision and they're going to vote to get Drea off. And
I hope Elle spirals. I want to watch Elle just
honestly, that would be the spiral.
Yeah,
that would be it. If they voted Drea off, it would create a spiral because they said it in the thing. She's the only person who was talking about Drea was Elle. And if that's the case, Drea said it to other people. She said it in front of someone else. One person, if nothing else. Even Lauren may bring it up. Lauren may, I don't know, because you got Elle looking at Lauren and Lauren needing to get the heat off her back. She may just, I don't know. And for the round table,
I didn't really get that from her.
Maybe a little paranoia.
Drea,
I have tunnel vision. I feel like she's
the paranoia is creating. Because here's the thing: as a traitor, you would think if there's only one person saying my name, I cannot get rid of that person. When it's the traitor's choice, it would be different if she was trying to get everybody to vote for Drea. But the traitors are getting rid of Mike and Drea. If they're, this is the thing. Mike's doing good because he's not saying any one person's name right now. So him being an ultimate faithful, by him not saying any names, that actually he would be a great. Personally, as a traitor, they should be looking to get rid of Mike. Mike is not saying anyone's names. That makes him a perfect murder because he's pushing the faithfuls, but he hasn't said anyone's name, so no one would know who killed him. But Drea, who is saying one name, you kill her, and automatically it's like, who did she say?
Mm-hmm. No, Mike needs to be a backup vote, or like Mike cannot be murdered. Mike is so brainy that anyone could be like, dude, you know too much. You have to be a traitor. Like,
yeah,
you know everything because you are a traitor. Like, it's just gonna happen. So him being murdered makes no sense. But I understand what you're saying. It's like, yeah, like don't go for someone who did say your name publicly. But the problem is, Drea is not the most reliable narrator. Are people even going to bring up the fact that she is sus on Elle, because the only person she really talked to one-on-one was Ashley about that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Mike, but like Mike trusts Elle, so Elle has a really good social game so far. So it might be best for her to take.
now that you point that out, because Mike is actually sitting on like a cusp of he could be an ultimate faithful or he could be like the ultimate traitor, right? And so having that little bit of information could be beneficial to him if they vote Drea out, and he needs to be able to get somebody, later on in the game to be able to get the target off of him, and if L's still there, that would be a good opportunity to shift it that way. So him even knowing and not being a traitor is still beneficial and could, harm L going down the road further.
Fair.
Well, I will say this, that like some of you in this chat, Al is a fellow Scorpio, so the possibility of a spiral is there.
When you're thinking so much, when you're like constantly thinking and doing so well this early, it is prime combo for like a spiral down, and it's gonna be so fun if it happens.
All right, I must end the podcast for the week. We will be back next week with a very, very dramatic episode. So,
Oh,
all right. Thank you all for joining me.